Most cards go to 0, and so do even some sets. How do we believe the Lost Caverns of Ixalan will perform long term, and what cards do we believe in? Let's get into it. The Lost Caverns of Ixalan have some amazing reprints. We have Cavern of Souls, we have Resplendent Angel, and in the special guest slot, we also have Mana Crypt. And I believe that these three cards are going to hold the value on the entire set long term. Right now it looks like that Wizards of the Coast have not overprinted this set, and it is holding value quite steadily at the moment. But of course, all this depends on how Wizards of the Coast are going to manage their reprint frenzy. If a second wave hits, this might of course affect the value, and if a lot of these cards that are holding the value in the set are also going to get a lot of reprints, such as Cavern of Souls, this of course will also affect the set. But right now, the Lost Caverns of Ixalan looks to be a really solid set. Hashtag not financial advice. And with that being said, there are also a lot of interesting cards in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and we have picked 5 cards that we think are really interesting, one for each color. First up is a green card, and that is Ghalta Stampede Tyrant, a 12-trade trample for only 5 colorless and 3 green. That in itself is quite powerful, but what really makes this card shine is the ability it has, that when it enters the battlefield, you may put any number of creature cards from your hand directly into play. That is broken. That is absolutely broken, because this card is of course green. You have a lot of ramp, but you also have a lot of fun shenanigans to cheat this card into play, and that is of course what you would like to do. You can use nice effective ways such as Quicksilver Amulet or Elvish Piper to cheat this card into play, and should you decide to splash a little black, you can always use Graveyard Shenanigans to cheat Ghalta into play. You can use Shallow Grave or Animate Dead, and boom, you have an instant threat. Imagine if you have filled your hands with really powerful Eldrazi cards. That might just be a win for you. Next up is a white card, unearthing, Deepest Foundation. I hope I pronounced that right. It's a 6/6 vigilance creature for only 4 colorless mana and 2 white. What makes this card shine is its ability to triple the number of tokens you put into play. We know that token generators are a really solid tactic. We have cards such as Anointed Possession, Parallel Lives, and Doubling Season, and they have become tried and true mechanics that everybody loves to play. And in recent sets we also had Mundrag that made a lot of tokens too. Now we have another creature, and this creature is even better than Mundrag. It triples the number of tokens you can put into play. With this card on the battlefield, you have a great way to just overrun the entire battlefield and go ahead with the win. So just like with the other cards that I mentioned, such as Anointed Possession, I think this card is going to stay relevant long time. Next up is a really spicy black demon vampire, and this card is the Bloodletter of Alcazotz. It's a 2/4 flying for 1 colorless and 3 black, so this card is really hard to play outside of black. But don't let that put you down, because this card reads: if an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. Having access to black, because this card is mainly going to be played in black, we can use a lot of fun shenanigans to go ahead with the win. You could go for an instant kill on an opponent with Blood Tribute, or you could go and just kill all opponents at the same time with Fraying Omnipotence. You could also just play Wound Reflection for double the fun, and if you play an Exsanguinate, you're sure that that's going to hit for a lot of damage. There are a lot of fun ways to use the Bloodletter, and I think this card is going to see a home in many a black deck. It is just made for combos. Next up is a card I really like, and it's a red card. But speaking of likes, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Unearthing is a 4/4 trample for only 2 colorless and 2 red. What makes this card really shine is its ability, because it states that whenever a red source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent, if that damage is less than Unearth's power, it deals damage equal to Unearth's power instead. That is absolutely broken. It's insane actually. Suddenly, your Thermal Alchemist, your Gutter Snipe, and your Electrostatic Field become huge threats on the battlefield. And if you have some way to boost Unearth's power, it becomes even more broken. And of course, I like this card a lot, so I have been brewing with it. And if you want to see my Unearth commander deck, a mono red burn deck, you can see it down in the description. Last card is a blue card, and I had quite a difficult time finding just the right blue card for you guys, but I found it. The blue card I find the most interesting from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan is Deep-Root Pilgrimage. For 1 colorless and 1 blue, you get an enchantment that reads, whenever a non-token merfolk you control becomes tapped, you create a 1/1 blue merfolk token with hexproof. That is kinda good. And suddenly, tactics with Convoke just become absolutely broken, because every time you tap a merfolk, you get a token. And those tokens can just feed into another Convoke spell next turn. And the non-tokens you had just generate even more tokens. And I think that somewhere down the road, people will find great uses for this card. We also know that in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, there's a really great commander deck with merfolks that is green and blue. So this card might just have a perfect fit right there. This is a great card, and it also hits a great typal keyword being merfolk. The only thing I'm wondering is, why have they not made this card for elves yet? So that was our take on the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We think this set is really promising, and it looks like Wizards have not overprinted this set yet. So that was our take on the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Thank you for watching, and a big thank you to our YouTube channel members and our Patreon members. Thank you for supporting the Cardboard Guide. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.